Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Raising the 5% Pod. I'm your co host and co founder, Maya Young.
And I'm your other co-host and co-founder, Major Low. Welcome to another episode of the podcast.
And so today, this episode is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be just May and I for this pod, but we wanted to really talk about sort of application season, what a good application should look like, specifically from the realm of personal statements. And so we're going to talk about sort of like how we got funding for law school because we both got scholarships to attend. We're going to read some excerpts from our personal statements. I want to make it clear, okay? Because I don't know who's going to be, I want to be very clear about this. I don't want you to expect any sort of publication material, okay? I don't
Okay.
just listen. Just listen and learn,
Good
okay?
vibes, Quinn.
Just vibe. But apart from that, then we're also going to just talk about what a personal statement should include, shouldn't include, and helpful tips for people who maybe have never written a personal statement before. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
I had never written a personal statement, I don't think, at least like to the same like necessary thing that I needed to in terms of like with an
Yeah.
addendum and with a diversity statement until I applied to law school. So now that I'm reading this as someone who graduated law school, it's very eye-opening
Yeah.
as to how I even got in. So we're gonna start with we'll start with sort of just like the sort of funding that we got. So May, how did you tell the people? How did you
I
get in?
think I just thought about this too. But even before we go that far, maybe we should talk about what a personal statement is. Because I feel like
Mm,
we kind of gloss over that and people just have like people know it's a part of the process and people think it is a big deal. It's a big
mhm.
part of your process. And so the personal statement essentially is your chance to tell the judges,
Admissions people.
the
Hmm.
admissions teams, who you are and why you want to go to this school. We talked about
Hmm.
it a bit in an episode with Traylon. Hold
Hmm.
on, let me fix this. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Dun, 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 dun,
This is
dun.
bothering me. Okay, trying to get myself a little more headspace. And these glasses are crooked. Let me change
Okay.
glasses.
Okay.
Okay, what is a personal statement? So I guess we shouldn't really start there with what is personal because you're in law. If you're applying to law school, you know what it is. But
Mhm.
essentially, it's just a 2 to 3 page document telling the people who you are. It's really your first chance to tell folks who you are. And like Maya said, we both got external funding for law school. And so we had, it's funny because we actually were sending each other our personal statements while we were going through the revisions and in the process of applying to law school and then applying to
Mhm.
the scholarship programs we were applying to. So I think I ended up writing 2 personal statements. I actually wrote 3 and I used 2. So I
Mhm.
didn't like one of them, and I ended up using 2. And I think it was difficult to like narrow down which story to tell, but I
Mhm.
think ultimately it worked out because I used one of my personal statements to get a full ride to go to law school, a fellowship, internships, and yeah, that's what I got in exchange for committing to doing 8 years of civil rights work post fellowship in the South through Marshall Motley. And so it worked out well for me, and I think that the best part, the thing about a good personal statement is that you have to know your audience. Like I think that's where people mess up. I think that's what we probably were messing up in the beginning. It was like
Mhm.
you gotta know who you're talking to, and I think like in my case, the person I'm going to read today that I sent to law schools, in retrospect, it worked really well for Marshall Motley because that's a program dedicated to Seed in the South with civil rights lawyers and that is talking about doing work on behalf of black people. This personal statement may not have worked that well. I could see why I didn't get into some of the schools I didn't get into because of who I was writing to.
Mhm.
So, yeah, just thinking about that now in retrospect, this is the first time I've ever really read it post law school as well. But
Mhm.
yeah, so
Even
uh,
to second that, I feel like it's also important to know yourself, which sounds
mhm.
wild to say, but just like May said, like we're reading these now being almost like 2 years removed from graduating law school, about
So these are
5
written
from
like
starting, which
five
is
years
wild.
ago. Yeah.
That's
Oh, it's
crazy.
2026, 6 years
Yes.
ago. That's
Six,
crazy. Yeah.
yes. And
Yeah.
so it's important because as I'm writing this, I'm like, I left out so many things that maybe to me were like inconsiderate or like they were so irrelevant. And looking back, they would have made me such a stronger candidate just
Mhm.
because like I didn't think it was something to mention. But it's really important as you're knowing your audience, also know yourself. Like it's really the time to flex just a little bit, not too much. but just a little bit of like, not only am I going to be a good law student, I'm going to be a good law student at your school. Because ultimately, like, if you don't, some schools don't have like external applications to apply for scholarships. So if you're
Yep.
looking to get scholarships from that institution, they're reading your statements, because yeah, they only have personal statements now, and maybe like the required essays that they have, and that's going to determine if they should give you money or not. So it's
Yeah.
really your only opportunity to be like, apart from my resume, this is who I am. Do you want to meet me? Do you want to
Yep.
pay me?
Yep.
Let's talk. But other than that, like, they'll, you never want your personal statement to just be something that they read in the application and then move on. You want it to really stick with people. So
And you
know
gotta
your
it gotta
audience.
be. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, know your audience and know yourself. That's it.
Yeah. And I think it's also imperative too that you tell your story and it's true to who you are, because you thinking about it, they're building a class profile. So they don't want so many people with the same type of story to be in that class. They want people with different and diverse, I don't know if that's a dirty word in law school admissions
Not
anymore.
dirty.
They want people with differing
Very.
opinions, varied life experiences. And so you have to consider that, and you have to be thoughtful about that. But you didn't tell us what scholarship you got. I thought we've talked
Oh,
about it before, but
yeah. So I always tell the story because I mean, May was there when we was in the trenches. Listen, we was in the trenches. By the time May had gotten his fellowship, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm still going to law school. Like, I hadn't applied to all these places, and I think you're the one who sent me info about Clio. Clio is the Council of Legal Opportunity and Education. And their entire mission, they've been around since the 60s, I think like 1968. And their entire mission is to make sure that Black attorneys, most attorneys of color now, but like specifically Black attorneys, matriculate into law school with not only like assistance in terms of educational, but financial as well. And so I had applied to the Clio program. It was the pre-law summer program. It's supposed to be 6 weeks, sort of like give you a precursor of what law school is supposed to be like. I ended up getting also accepted into their CLIC program, which is kind of like the placement portion of Clio that not every student gets to do. And it was really cool because Clio on its own, I mean, apart from being in the CLIC program, I couldn't participate because I was going to have a placement, but like you still get interviews to schools. Like Clio's they have partner schools. So like some of those schools leave open seats specifically for Clio students who they feel will give a good interview or like present a new resume that you get in the 6 week program. And a lot of people from my program ended up getting accepted into either like T14 schools or T25 schools or whatever type of schools, literally based off the interview that they gave through the Clio program alone. So shout out Clio. But yeah, I got accepted into the program. They placed me at Vermont, which is what I wanted to do around my time because I wanted to get my master's at the same time. And then I got in and they gave me money. And it was kind of connected through the university too, or the school, because Clio is the one who like sets the matriculation in place. But because Vermont was a partner placement school, the scholarship specifically came from them. So like it was externally found, but I guess internally funded, if that makes sense. But yeah, shout
shout
out
out
to
to
them.
Cleo.
Listen, shout out to
That was
Clio.
dope though. I didn't realize they had such a storied history and been doing this for so long.
So long. And
Yeah.
it was really cool because like even through the program, they choose a different a host school each year.
Hmm.
So like for my year, Penn State, so Dickinson Law was the host school, and you get access. You get a Penn State email account. You get access to like their OneDrive, their TAs, their professors who are actual professors at the university, and you become like essentially a Dickinson Law student for 6 weeks. I thought I was in law school. I was taking 3 classes a week. And they said
Right.
final next week. Babe, orientation was yesterday. Like, I'm confused. What are you talking about? But it was
Remember,
really,
slow
it
down.
helped me like really transition as easily
Yeah.
because law school is a different learning curve. No
It's a
matter
beast.
how bad you think you are, baby.
It's a
One
beast.
L is worse. One L is badder. Like, it is so fast paced. So I think being able to kind of like push myself for the first 6 weeks without having to really associate it to like a make or break in my academic career helped me a lot. 1L wasn't as bad as I thought it could have been because I had that.
It was as bad for me. I didn't have no
Oh, it's
prep,
okay.
so it was terrible. But anyway,
That's okay. That's okay.
we survived.
We
I'm a
survived.
survivor.
I'm not going. Yeah.
What? What? You better lay low.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to
No
Whitney
business.
Houston.
But yeah.
Alrighty. Well,
Who's
let's jump
first?
in. All right.
Who's
I can
first?
go first. I don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a live reaction to this too, and probably for you and for all of us because I know you've seen this before, but it's been years, so you probably
Yeah.
forgot this whole story, and I know I've forgotten yours for sure.
Oh, it's okay. Shoot me.
So, but let's go. So mine is it was roughly 1.5 pages, and so I think also what I'll try to do is put this on the screen while like we're reading it, so
Mm.
people can read along with us if they're like visual readers. But mine was roughly 1.5 pages, and it starts off with a quote, which I actually discourage people all the time to start their first statements with quotes now, which is funny that mine started with a quote. So mine starts off with a quote. How does it feel to be a problem?
Mm.
W.E.B. Du Bois says that our fellow countrymen ask this of us as Black Americans. Since the development of consciousness, I have felt that very existence in the only country I've ever known to be home is a problem. My parents raised me to be black and proud, but also to be cautious of when and how I displayed it. They knew that even in the emerging 21st millennium, pure blackness was still conceived as a threat. In my eyes, to be black in America is to actively live with, see, and understand the systemic racism ingrained into society and be left to sort out the consequences of a darker hue. I personally
Mm.
had a problematic confrontation based on my own appearance. As a young black man, 21 years old, oh my goodness, and
Baby.
standing at 6'5", 300 pounds, my stature and appearance often threaten those sworn to protect me. While I've never been arrested or ticketed, I'm often detained for minor alleged offenses. I lost my place. That's why I need to zoom. I don't got them 21-year-old eyes no more. These eyes is definitely motherfucking 27 and been through law
Listen.
school. Okay, let me get
Listen.
back to it. While I've never been ticketed, I am often detained for alleged minor traffic violations. I'm reminded continuously by law enforcement of the societal role which I'm expected to play solely based on my experience, my appearance rather. Yet I believe that my own experiences have not impacted my societal view as much as my lived vicariously through my mother's transgressions. My mother wasn't my hero as my child. For as long as I can remember, she worked 2 jobs and put herself through school at night. She continually tried to maximize opportunities regardless of our circumstances. At the time, she was young, motivated, and enthusiastic, even returning to school after graduating to attempt a master's in legal studies. Yet with a degree, she spent her days waiting tables to make ends meet because the education she gained could not erase the set of scarlet letters with which society had branded her. The letters, CF, for convicted felon, often slammed doors in her face well before she set foot into any interview rooms or got any callbacks. It broke her and killed her dreams, and as a child, it baffled me because my mother had never been to prison. But I did not know that the probation office was just as bad. I didn't understand why society would hinder her opportunities to thrive. Her only mistake in life had labeled her as someone undeserving of a chance to exercise her skills and educational achievements. The trauma of watching my mother's struggle awakened my conscience. It sparked a passion in me that I could not explain, but which led to personal revelations regarding the way that society stifles the expression of black existence. It is as if the laws and regulations that govern all of society have been mass produced in bold text with punishments doubled for black Americans in fine print, forcing me to learn how to adapt to the inner workings of a system built to keep me out. This sparked my interest in political activism, which I would come to realize in college. Arriving at Prairie View University, an historically black college nestled in Waller County, Texas, I found my political roots and engaged in fights that have come to shape my life. For the first time, I felt safe enough to express myself within a society that did not experience life through the lens I did. I think this is written wrong. For the first time, I felt safe enough to express myself within a society that did not experience life through I think I meant to say that did experience. Okay. I felt free enough to learn, grow, and understand the problems within our community from the professors who shared life experiences similar to mine. Pushed to my educational boundaries, all of my past experiences culminated in the fight I would lead at Prairie View. Suffrage, the most important constitutional right, became the focal point of my student activism. As a freshman, I helped register over 1,000 students to vote as a volunteer deputy registrar. I ran 3 student government association elections,
Mm.
basing my platforms on the importance of utilizing the vote to diversify county and local governments to reflect the community's needs and desires, canvassing with my compassionate colleagues, the political group dubbed PSP, Political Science Posse, we organized 3 student marches that protested attempts by Waller County to discount and disenfranchise the student vote. And so the common theme throughout the obstacles which have shaped the direction of my life is law. My experiences with the law enforcement perpetuating an antiquated and inaccurate archetype of black men in America molded me in the same way my mother's story did. My political activism at Prairie View, protesting and marching, built the perspective that I hold today. I always have and will continue to expose and overcome the burdens in this country, the burdens that this country has placed on black people. It is my aim for the rest of my days to continue the good fight, to continue working to make a better environment, a safer space for all people to live, grow, and work together cohesively. A Juris Doctorate degree will make my goal of creating an America where all citizens are indeed recognized as equals more attainable because of the ability to practice, understand, and legislate the law in the future. Wow, this was actually pretty good. I'm just like, I'm a little fired up.
I know that
I'm a
kind of
little
got me.
fired up.
I caught at the beginning. Once you said WEB, I said, I
I'm a
know
little,
who didn't like that. I know they
oh
read
yeah,
that.
you know, them P14s, they saw
Got
that.
another
They
one.
said, all right, this was fun.
Next. No,
Oh,
that was good.
yeah. Reading
Okay.
this though,
Mm-hmm.
I see why
Oh,
this would have moved the Marshall Molly crowd. Like,
yes. It's
that's why.
very, it's what they want.
Yes,
It's
and that's
very,
why I
very good
say know
Marshall.
your audience. While this is all true and this is
Right.
who I am, I do think that a big part of being really when you step into the law school scene, like you are playing the game. Like you really just have to accept that. You know what I mean? If you want to be a lawyer, you're playing the game. And in order to do what you want to do, you got to tell the stories that they want to hear. And sometimes, like this story, this is a black ass personal statement. And I understand why, like, I remember asking, like, Professor Hostin, I asked
Mm,
Professor, I don't think I asked, what's the lady name that taught, that lady that took the LSAT and got a 170, ended up getting a PhD instead?
Dr. Morton.
I didn't
Dr.
ask her. I
Morton.
should have asked her because she probably would have told me, don't send this,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But
Mm-hmm.
this was great for the scholarship that's about defending, protecting, and expanding the rights of black people in the southern United States because that's what this is talking about. You know what I mean? These are lived experiences of other black folks, other black children across the country. But yeah, it is moving though. I will say it
It
was
is
good.
very moving.
I was moved reading
It's
this, and
very
it
well
was
written.
yeah for a
That's
21
the
year
that's
old.
the winner of that orator competition.
Well, yeah.
That's what that was.
Well,
That's
I
what
think
that was.
it's given. It was very Prairie View student though. Like
Oh, extremely.
I can tell I wrote this while we were still in college because
Oh,
the way
extremely.
how free I was writing and like the lens that I had and wow, you know
It
what I
does
mean?
something to you. That's what I literally, that's, you encapsulated that perfectly. Because in reading my personal statements, I was like, I can tell I was at school. Not because like
Yeah.
my writing was juvenile. It was just because like when your education, your soul education is just blackness and the
Yes.
threat to blackness and
Yeah.
how you will always be black, you
Yeah.
start thinking
Yeah.
like it shifts your worldview. And I think
It
because we were
does.
also poli-sci majors, writing was something that like though it was required, also became an outlet, I think, for us. Like
Yes.
we learned to express ourselves fully in writing and
And
talking about what we wrote.
cohesively, you know, and like to be able to
Yeah.
say your point and to be able to articulate it so well
That
that
anybody,
anybody else can
mhm,
feel what you feel it. You know
it
what I
does
mean?
something
Like,
to you.
yeah. Oh
It
my
does something to you.
goodness.
It activates you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Shout
now
out
that
to
you've
Team
read that,
Woolfolk for that.
no,
Woo.
love folks.
Give them their
What would
tens.
you do again?
Hmm.
Like, what are the do's and don'ts? Now that you've written to someone who's listening
Yeah.
to this and it's like, okay, I really like that. What would you recommend and what would you not recommend?
So I think this is a good personal statement, right? But like I said, I think the first thing that I'm thinking about is that I wish I would have known who I was writing to more.
Mm,
And I think this is fine. I also think you have to consider the other factors in like in my situation. Like my GPA was okay. I graduated with like a
mhm,
3.56, I think, from
mhm.
undergrad. And then
Average.
my LSAT score was it was actually probably below average. It was like low 150s, you know, and so
Woo!
and I took it twice. I was like, I'm done with
I'm
this test.
done.
And
Yeah.
so whatever happens, happens. I think that knowing what I know now, I would have probably toned it down a bit because law schools are conservative institutions. Like the revolution will not be litigated. It will not be litigated. Like it's just that's not going to happen. And so they they don't not want to hear your story. They don't not want to hear your perspective. But I think that, and also I didn't use all 2 pages. Like it was a page and a half. So I definitely would have written more. That's the first thing I'll say. But I think I would have done a better job of talking about one, nothing in this personal statement says why I want to go to this law school. Why do I have to? What about it? What is it about the University of Texas, Texas Tech, Howard, Thurgood Marshall, Vermont? Why do I want to go to this law school? That's missing from here. Like this is a personal statement about me and my life, but I could have taken the last. I had what, half a page left. I could have taken that last half a page and written one paragraph for each school about why I need to be at your school to do this work. Why I need to be at your school to make this my
The
dream.
connection.
Yes, that's missing. Now, granted, let me see if I have a diversity statement. I did write some addenda. What is this? This is like an addenda. Yeah. I wrote some addendas, but I didn't write a diversity statement either, at least for this application. So I would have definitely written the whole thing. No, pay more attention to the audience and tailored my each personal statement, one paragraph to why I need to be at this school. I think the good was like being authentic in my story, and that is my story. Like this is who I am. This is the
Transparency.
work that I want to do. This is the work I'm doing currently. You know what I mean? It's all of cumulative. All of these things have led to where I am today. So I wouldn't change the substance. I would have just changed the direction of how I written it, right? Know what I know now about the law and about law school admissions and what they care about. I would have spoke more to why I need to be here to do that. And I would have definitely proofread it 5 more times. Like proofing is my Achilles heel every time. I always have good substance, but if you can have a good tasting cake, but if it look like shit, ain't nobody gonna eat it. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean. It got to look good and taste good. And
Yeah.
that's how your personal statement has to be. It has to have good bones, but it also has to have good grammar and good structure. So
Yes.
yeah, but knowing what I know now, I definitely would have used that the rest of that space and tied it all together. And why I want to be there. So yeah. What about you? What feedback do you have from reading it? If anything, what did you think? If you were the dean of Maya A. Young School of Law, what would you?
Honestly, just echoing. I think a good connection because the things that you're mentioning, I'm like now looking at my personal statement, and I also wrote two, no, 2 or 3, and then some of them I did do that. Like some of them I did tie. Like it's sort of like a cover letter, right? Like you look to see what the school is known for, and you're like, I know that your focus is this, and I would contribute to your mission because I da 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 da. But in a lot of the ones that I did send, I didn't put that at all. And so I think my only feedback would be that. I also feel like I don't know. I'm a big fan of transparency. So I feel like you being deeply transparent about not only like your personal experience in terms of like how even what you started the statement off with, right? Like what it means to truly be black in this country, but also like how maybe something that although like had not been, I don't know the word, I guess like an external experience from your mom in terms of like her not being imprisoned, how it was still something that she carried like in every single facet, and how that only kind of asks you to ask yourself, well, like, what does this mean? Like, how can this be true? How can I wrestle with like what I know to be true, but also like as I've gotten older, what I experienced? I think you did a good job, almost like chronologically doing a flashback and like real life at the same time. It really read like a story. So like
Yeah.
I appreciated that, but I do think a connection in terms of like how that specific school would have helped you because I think you put it at the end like a Juris Doctor would, but
Yep.
I think like a paragraph would have been good too. But it worked. So
Yeah. It worked.
hey,
Now we're
it
here.
got you
So
in. It got you in. It got the money. So, but I
yeah.
I agree. Like I think for the crowd that you were writing for, like for MMSP, I think that was a perfect essay because I think the whole point, especially of like y'all's fellowship, is to ensure that the people not only want to do the work, but that they have some sort of connection to the work. And I think you
Right.
showed like not only do I want to do it, I have a connection and I have a
Right.
familial connection. Like it's so
Right.
much bigger than me. And I think that's what they want y'all to be. Like y'all so I think
Right.
it was perfect essay for the crowd.
Yep. Know your audience, man. That's my advice. Know your audience.
Yeah. Mine this is interesting. I don't even know why I wrote this. I have to be honest. Like, no, because I'm trying to figure out like what my point was and why I thought this needed to be written to the people grading my law school application. But I'm gonna read. I was like trying to decide if I should read the one that I had to write for Vermont because like I wrote
Mm-hmm.
a personal, but I had to write like a required one specifically for them
Mm-hmm.
and an optional. But my optional started with a quote too. It started with Shirley. So I'm gonna read the personal that I sent to a bunch. That I actually, this is the one I actually ended up like scrapping for a few because after I kept reading it, I was like, girl, I wouldn't let you in.
Right.
Um, like so I ended up using it. But this is a good example of like maybe what not to do. So okay, well, this is so funny. Okay, this is like an audiobook. Okay, Black excellence. You like
The
this.
eye roll is crazy.
I'm so
You gotta start
oh
over.
my
You gotta start over.
I I'm so over this already. But I know, like, this is my saying. I know when I wrote this, I know I was sitting in Woolfolk. I'm thinking, like, this is novel. Like, they've never had, girl, yeah, they've never had nobody write nothing like this because they got sense. Like, I
Niggas
don't
in
understand.
trouble. You niggas
Like,
in trouble.
like when I tell you, just like with this rap one, when I tell you, I thought I was about to. I don't know who I thought I was gonna be, y'all. When I graduated, I kid you not, I had just finished like binging Scandal. Like you have to keep it. I'm trying to set the scene. I'm really trying to set the
Yeah.
scene so y'all know the type of Maya that was
Where
writing
we
this.
where we were.
Where we were,
You
like
gotta
I have
understand where
finished
I'm coming
binging
from.
Scandal. I had gotten my first Angela Davis book. Like I was, she
I
was,
think when
she
we
was
were
deep.
writing this, I think we were in Melanie's class, so
Yes.
we were reading like Black Power by
We
we're
were
reading like
literally in a class called Everyday Forms of Liberation. Like
yep
you have to, or resistance. So you have
resistance.
to
Yep.
understand, I'm thinking I'm
Yeah.
the new Black
Yeah.
Panther Party, baby. I'm in the current. Like
Right.
I'm thinking I'm just trying to set the scene.
Were you taking? Did
Okay.
you take that class with Austin? Did you take urban politics too, or you went on a
No,
different?
I didn't.
Okay.
Everybody did, and I wanted
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't take any class by him. That's what's crazy. I
Okay.
only took Dr.
Yeah.
Price both times.
Yeah. I was
But
in that.
he's
I'm in
so
urban
funny.
politics with Dr. How we got so quick detour. So in our last year at Prairie View, they hired
Yes.
two new Black faculty. Right.
Best thing they could have done.
Oh my goodness, the endowed chair.
Shifted my entire
Oh my goodness, changed, shook our whole world up
everything.
in really
One
one
semester.
semester because they
Yeah.
started in the fall but didn't teach nothing to the spring, and we
Yeah.
graduated like well then COVID hit, so
Yeah.
but
Literally one semester. It
yeah,
was great. Especially because Dr. Price, she had been an alum of the poli sci program
hmm
herself. So like it
yeah,
was oh my gosh.
that
You talk
story history
about
there, yeah,
Woolfolk
yeah.
2019 to
It was a special
2020.
place. It was a
You
special
can't tell me
place.
nothing. You can't tell
Yeah,
me nothing. And I know that this was the direct result. Like I had just taken like Blacks in American politics. We was
yeah,
taking like race, gender, and justice. Like
yeah.
all my classes were literally about what it means to be Black
What class
and
did we
what
take together with Morton? We did take a class. What was she teaching?
I thought that was that the
That was the
race and
race and
gender
justice.
and
Yeah,
justice
I don't
and
remember what
like
class it was
and
though.
I took Gandhi and King. Like I was
Oh
taking
yeah, I didn't
classes,
take that class.
you know. So
Yeah.
let's just set the scene. Let's think about where
Okay,
Maya.
we're there now. Black excellence. Come on.
Jesus. Okay, but okay, Black excellence. These two words, this notion that is always used in reference to something exceptional happening in the lives of Black people, bears the unique burden of being so empowering yet grossly intimidating. Excellence in its entirety was meant to focus on the accomplishments of Black people in a space that was for and by the Black community. I have experienced firsthand how necessary and powerful Black brilliance is and how it deserves to be genuinely celebrated, but also how it can create these limited expectations that have no space for Black regularity. Okay. The pressure of Black excellence is one that I have always been aware of, and until the last 3 years of my life, a standard that I have upheld. Being a straight A student in my household was neither exceptional nor extraordinary, but the standard. To be average was to be indifferent, and there was no use in being indifferent. Growing up, I was always that student. I was a student who finished her work early while also being the student that read what was assigned no matter how long it was. And yes, even that student who would remind the teacher that we had homework due from the night before. It was never to prove anything or to be better than anyone, but it was because it was all that I knew due to my parents and their background. With both of my parents once being public school teachers, they prided themselves on education and excelling academically. This norm worked for me and was the reason for the direction of my academic career, with me starting school at the age of 3 and graduating my bachelor's before the age of 20. While this seems irregular and impressive to most, it was the planned and intended path for me, and it was not until college where the pressure of being who I was made to be became too much. It was at Prairie View A&M University where I found my passion and my purpose. During my second year, I decided to truly explore my major of political science and get heavily involved within my college town. Prairie View is one of the only, hold on, she can't spell, one of the only, if not the only, black towns in the history of Prairie View. Oh, in the history, whoa, in the history of, no, in the county of Waller County, Texas. To me, this town is a diamond in the rough because the history of Prairie View A&M University is so rich. To be a historically black college and university in a county that is distastefully named after a slaveholder that has educated, cultivated, and produced black leaders and activists since its founding is nothing short of monumental. There were necessary issues that needed to be addressed, and I had the time and energy to address them. From organizing student-led voting marches to chartering a student organization for black students to galvanize their political power in their communities. Ooh, long sentence. To setting up multiple towns for elected officials to interact with students, my political involvement on campus was very successful. Giving back to the town and the university that was responsible in me discovering my niche was the least that I could do. However, it was a bittersweet revelation that although I had achieved great success in my purpose, because it was not measured to my academics or related to my academics, it was measured differently. My work had opened so many opportunities for me, from allowing me to be published in The Guardian, mentioned in the variety of news outlets, but sadly, the response was mediocre. In realizing this, it allowed me to change my interpretation of the word mediocrity. That word to me had always been associated with being less than or not enough, usually in conjunction to the academic norms of non-Black students and individuals. And yet it was not until I had graduated where I realized that there is no shame in being regular if that regularity is only a comparative measurement. If I am only considered regular or mediocre when being compared to those who have had more access to resources and programs that have constantly supported them, am I truly regular? To that same standard, if I'm only considered excellent when being compared to those who have had less access to various resources and programs that have helped me and supported me, am I truly excellent? Okay. My visibility and justification. I'm like, who is she feeling like? My visibility and justification in my power as a young, educated Black woman is not definitive on what I have and have not accomplished, nor on what I will and will not accomplish. Black mediocrity, and Black regularity are just as powerful as Black excellence. Us as Black people being who we are in spite of is a movement within itself. In this life, I want to help those who need it the most, and I know that starts with an in-depth and clear understanding of the things that have the ability to limit people's power in the first place. This country fundamentally depends and revolves around the law because it mandates nearly everything we do in this society. To understand the set of rules people's power depends on is to understand the needs of the people, and that is what it means to be a lawyer. Civil rights law specializes in being a fighter for those who do not always possess the tools to fight for themselves, and with entrance to this law school, I would be amongst the fighters. In a world where Blackness and its exceptionalism has always been limited and measured by those outside the Black community, I strive to be content and satisfied with Black regularity. In a world where Black Americans sometimes have to work 2 to 3 times harder than their non-Black counterparts for the same consideration, I strive for my excellence to be measured in the way it deserves to be. I do not want, nor have I ever wanted, those who cannot relate to my Blackness to be colorblind, but to be aware of that me doing my best is truly Black excellence in itself. Yeah. Thoughts. I think they didn't accept me because they thought I was going to revolt the school. I think they thought I was going to literally turn everybody anti anything. I think they thought that the school was going to be too pro-Black, that we wasn't even going to listen. Because in reading this, if I was an admissions counselor, I'm like, you know what, girl? Yes. Right. Power to the people.
Not around here, though.
Not here though. But whatever you do anywhere else,
right? Yeah.
But here,
Yeah.
Nah,
Nah.
nah,
I'm
no.
not. You was kind of cooking though. I knew where you
It's a great essay. It's a
when
great
yeah, it
essay.
is. It's a great. That's I like how you
Essay.
phrase that.
A
It's a
great
great
essay.
essay. Like it is
Personal
a great
statement.
essay about the indictment on the use of the term black excellence. Like it will
Yeah.
make a fire ass YouTube
Yeah,
video
I might
essay.
try to put this on Medium or something. That's
Yeah,
kind of
we
like
need to rework that.
that's kind of
Yeah.
good.
Uh
Yeah, I
huh.
like that. I like that. I
Yeah.
like when I ask questions. It's meant to be. That's what like
Yeah.
I could tell I was deep in my
Yeah.
poli sci bag when writing
Yep.
this. Like asking the rhetorical question to the reader. That's
Deep in
poli
that.
sci one on
And
one.
you know what I took from that? Like it was the diversity of our people, like
Mhm.
the diversity of blackness. Like you were really questioning the way that blackness presents and
Mhm.
who's at the top in places that
Mhm.
are like all black. But I can also
Mhm.
imagine as the admissions counselor at a law school, which we're talking about predominantly white spaces, even in some spaces, the people who are black in admissions at the 8 law schools that
Yeah.
they are believers of black excellence. You know, you talking to the
Yeah.
people who want to uphold black excellence. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like
It
that's
was
that's
very ironic to be writing this to a law school. Like I say that
yeah.
now, and I think I can only say that as like because we've both experienced law school, survived law
Hmm.
school. Even thinking about it, although I think for us, getting to law school was such a feat, right? Like it took so much sacrifice and so much time and so much like come to Jesus moments where it's like you got to just be content with whatever you put out there. If you know that it's not your best, if you know that it's what you got, and then you get to law school and you realize that like the things that you think are the silent biases, implicit biases, they're actually very external. They're actually
Yeah.
very explicit. People actually think about them and they will say them to you, about you, near
Hmm.
you. And I had to realize, like, as I was there, that even though what I feel like is so monumental, and because it is, getting to law school, like, is extremely hard and it's extremely monumental. It is also what people feel is the epitome of Black excellence. And so,
Yep.
ironically, writing this essay about, like, I'm actually
Black lawyers and black doctors are the
like,
the that's the definition of black excellence. You know what I
and so
mean?
to
So
write about how, like, I'd actually rather be seen as like Black men.
just treat me normal. You know?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. You
Yeah.
know what's normal?
Right.
Denial. That's what you want to be normal? Oh, okay. That's I could tell when they read that. Oh,
Oh,
you said black regularity? Oh, okay. Next, like you're not getting into this school. But it's
we're not looking
ironic
for
because
regular baby.
I nothing. So I can understand like at the time thinking about who I was when I wrote this,
Yeah.
I was very excited to like, I don't know, because I think if you
Question
don't
the
have,
norms.
when you have an idea of what law is, like, or what
Hmm.
a lawyer is, it really
Yeah.
is like confirmation by it shapes your entire perspective. And it's not until you
That's
get
so
to law
true.
school where you're like,
That's
okay,
so true.
law school has like very, in my opinion, law school has not very little, but like the practice of law and the education of law differ in a lot of ways because I think the
Absolutely.
practice of the law requires a lot of things that like school will never teach you. It can't teach you
Absolutely.
empathy. It can't teach you communication. It can teach you, you know, how you should do things, but life is like not a one size fits all thing. Clients are not a one size fits all thing. Issues are not a one size. So like the things that I think law school taught me, it taught me to be, you know, like very conditional on like how maybe I practice law or like what
Hmm.
practicing law would look like or should look like ideally. But that is so different from like the actual practice. And I think when I wrote this, I was like, I think practicing law is going to be like this. I told y'all I like just finished watching Scandal. I'm thinking I'm about to open Olivia Pope and Associates, and I'm going to be
Okay.
her and the Associates. Like I
Right.
am a gladiator in the suit. And then you get to law school, and it's like y'all don't do. I
Yeah.
thought like where is the? They're
Yeah.
like no baby, not here. We don't do that. I
Right.
don't know where you're from.
Right.
I don't know where you do things where you're from, but we don't do that here. And so it's very ironic, but it's a great essay. I could tell I was a political science student writing this.
You
Yeah.
said something I thought was really good. You said the practice of law in law school is just so different, and I think
Mhm.
that law school itself, you really do have confirmation bias, and when you're applying
Mhm.
to law school, you think about it as this abstract like space where you
Mhm.
can challenge. I almost think that I thought that law school would be like a PhD. I think knowing what I know now, I
Mm.
think that I thought law school would be like studying like a master's or like a PhD, where it's like I
Very
have,
theoretical.
yeah, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's very
Hmm.
like I have all this creative freedom, all this
Hmm.
expressive freedom, and I think that informed the way that I thought about writing personal statements to apply to law school. Law
Hmm.
school was like more like applying for an MBA. This is like
Hmm.
a business degree.
Hmm.
This is a degree where I think your story is important, but it also is important to tell this school how they gonna get their ROI. How we gonna
Hmm.
get our money back if we let you in?
Hmm.
How you gonna make X University School of Law look good 10 years from now? Are you gonna be? Do we like your chances of being a judicial appointment, attorney
Hmm.
general? Do we like your chances of being a AM law partner? You know what I mean? Like, how are we gonna get?
Mutual
How will
benefit.
we exactly?
Mm.
How will we elevate from this deal? And I think if
Mhm.
I knew that when I was applying, I would have just harped on all those things in the essay. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I think too, I hate to like pop people's bubble all the time, but I do. It's like the law is not this is not a abstract liberal like and by liberal I don't mean political liberal because some law schools are more left leaning than other law
Mhm.
schools could be conservative, but
Mhm.
the law in its entirety is conservative by nature. Like it is
Mhm.
a slow, the practice, the school, everything is slow. It is they want to do the things that are the least disruptive as
Mhm.
possible. Like they want to take the path of least resistance to
Mhm.
solve any issues. And I think understanding that and really coming to terms with that will save you a lot of heartache and get you into a lot more schools when you're
Yeah.
doing the personal statement process if you just are being thoughtful about that. But I want to flip your two questions you asked me back
Mhm.
onto you.
Mhm.
What would you do differently, and what were the good things you thought?
Um, I think I would talk less about my experience at PV. Not because I don't think it's important. Like, I think it's very integral as to why I wanted to become a lawyer. Like, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, but I wish I would have maybe been more chronological and, like, maybe what started the passion and kind of what, like, fueled it beyond it just being a thought and something that was actually attainable. Like, I wish I would have talked about, like, the work we did with the LDF when they came, or like how we were actually like getting to talk to lawyers and actually see the practice of law as it connected to our passions. I also think I would have spoken more about because I was very vague. I said this law school. I wish I would have maybe hinged on like specific things that they focus on or that their mission is related to be like, well, I know you like this. I like this too. We should connect. But I didn't do that. But I don't know. Like I think it's just as you said, it's something to think about because like now that we've gone through the process and I think that's the whole point, right? Like I think we probably would not have thought the way we think about law school had we not attended and had we not
Mm-hmm.
graduated. And I think that's so interesting to me because ironically, to me it's ironic that when you get into the legal field, whether as a student or a professional, they talk about how they want the law to be accessible to everyone. And it's not until you graduate that you realize how deeply inaccessible not only like access to services is, but how like legal education is deeply inaccessible. No
Yeah.
one knows the first thing about going to law school or even like what law school teaches until you're in your first day. You don't realize that like contracts is connected to like all the various things. When I said civil
Like
rights law
everything is a
here, I
contract.
had no idea exactly. I had no idea what civil rights law meant. Okay, I saw Crump and I saw like other lawyers, and I'm thinking they call themselves civil rights lawyers. I see them do what I like to do, and I don't get
Uh-huh.
paid for it.
And
I want
Johnny,
to be a civil rights lawyer. Like
let
I
any
didn't
black
know.
person tell it. Johnny Cochran was America's
Listen,
second civil
like
rights lawyer. The whole time
you
he criminal defense.
the whole time, the whole time. And it's like you don't really know what things are until you know what things are. And I think it's
Yep.
so interesting because when I was writing this, it's the same way you thought. Like I too thought law school was going to be this very revolutionary turning point in my academic career. And like on some hand it was, but I think as I got into law school, it made me realize like I appreciated more the lawyers rather than the law. You know what I mean? Like I felt like the lawyers were the ones who kind of made it as theoretical and as creative as it could be. Because when I thought
Okay.
about the law, I thought about landmark decisions. And I'm like, how is it that
Yeah.
this law
How'd they
can,
get there? How'd
how
they
did they
get there?
get there?
Yeah.
And it's not until law school you realize, like, oh, this was the lawyer's argument. Like they made this case and they kind of,
Yeah,
looked and saw.
they put this together.
They put that together. And
Yeah.
I think before you get to law school, not to say you're not thinking about that because I don't want to give anyone like a disservice, but I wasn't thinking like that. I assumed that the law was kind of like, this is how it's presented. You take what you need and you don't. And it turns out that when you get to law school, you're like, okay, all of these things are happening like in tandem at once. Law can be good one day and bad tomorrow, and you just kind of got to adjust.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know that before. So like I think that's kind of my only thing. I think I wish I would have spoken less about what I did in school and like maybe connected more to what I wanted to do and maybe just done like a little bit of research of like the specific type of law I wanted to go to. Like if I knew that I wanted to do civil rights, I probably should have delved deeper in like, do I want to do like crim defense in terms of civil rights? Do I want to
Yeah.
do like policy work? Like I wish I would
What
have
type of civil rights?
truly, yeah, knocked it down because I think that would have honestly, I think that would have helped with my connection. Like that would have made me be like, okay, I see that. Even like mentioned like their notable alum and how like that helped. Like how May said they really want a return on their investment. Because I think about it in the way of like a school either wants one of two things. They want you to do really well post grad so that they can brag on you,
Hmm.
or they want you to do like not bad at all so they have nothing to say. It's either like
Right.
they want to say nothing or they want to say everything. If you give them a chance to say something and it's negative, I mean, it
Now we
shouldn't
got a
go that way.
problem.
That's like that's like the worst case scenario. And
Yeah.
so I think when you're drafting a personal statement, it's easy to recognize like what do I want? I don't want to say legacy, but like what do I want the school to know about me? Like what do I want them to have the utmost confidence in me in 3 years that I'm not even gonna know if I change my mind on what I want to practice in 3 years or who
Yeah.
I'm gonna become. Like we are different people than when we wrote this personal statement.
6 years ago, absolutely.
6 years ago. And I would hope that the people that accepted us through the admissions team would have known that we were going to be successful and, pour into not only ourselves, but to the practice of law and like even helping the school when they accepted us. I don't think they would have thought, oh, this is going to work out really bad. So I'm not going to
Right.
accept them because it would be pointless. So just putting that out there for people who maybe don't even know how it all goes because we didn't know.
And we're coming up on time, but one thing that I
Hmm.
think we should kind of talk about too, because along the way, I think
Hmm.
we both got some really bad advice just
Hmm.
about like in the application process and in the personal statement process as well. I
Hmm.
know it's been a lot. You slept a lot since then, but something that's came to my mind that I got about two pieces of advice. One, Dr. Houston. Dr. Houston was one of the people that told me to. I had so the reason I wrote the second personal statement was because I felt like this one was too personal, and I felt
Hmm.
like I was oversharing and like it like it's specifically the part about my mom. I was like, should I include this? Should I take this out? And he was like, no,
Hmm.
keep it. That's the most compelling part of the story, and
Hmm.
like you draw it all together. So
Hmm.
he told me to keep it in. And then I got other people who I would send it to who would just do like a quick, quick glance. Oh, it's good. This reads good. Send it back. No substantive edits. So, and that kind of goes to the same thing with letters of recommendation. You want people to be invested in this process that are going to give you good feedback. They're going to
Hmm.
write you strong letters of recommendation. You want people who are going to pour into that and care about it just as much as you do.
Hmm.
Because, this is your one shot to show the
Hmm.
school who you are and what you got and why they should pick you
Hmm.
and or why they should give you this money. You know what I mean? And if you don't have people who are doing that for you and showing up for you in that way, it's gonna show in the application. It's gonna
Yeah.
show in the personal statement. You know what I mean?
It
So,
also makes it immensely difficult to write a personal statement. And
yep.
I wish someone would have told me, because I'm gonna tell y'all, like if you don't know how to write a personal statement, I think there's more humility in admitting that than writing something
Hmm.
that you think is going to be good without giving like any feedback or asking for
Yeah.
any help. Because that was my problem. Like I hate asking for help still to this day. But like I dreaded asking my old professors, like, what do you think about this? Or like my mentors. And unfortunately, had I not asked them that, I mean, I don't, now reading this, I don't think this personal statement was the best, but it got me into schools with scholarships.
Right.
Like, I don't think that I would have, my personal statement would have like gotten to this point had I not asked for that help. And so even if you think like, well, I don't know if this is good, I don't know how it's going to be, I think there's more of a chance to be taken to ask people for help, and ask them like, what do you think? Could you, like May said, like make sure they have an actual investment into what you want to do, how you are. And I think it helps to know like if people know the type of writer that you are, because I think the people who read this, they knew the type of writer that I was. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
writer who like it almost, some people shy away from it. I think I write exactly how I talk. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. It depends on who your audience is, but they knew like that I would sound like this if they were talking to me, and they would tell me, hey, err on the side of making sure it's more of like a story rather than a lecture. Make sure that it's something that people
Mm-hmm.
can follow rather than just like read and get bored with. So like people who can actually help you understand like where the compelling parts of your essay are, right? Or like if your statement is personal or not personal enough, like different things like that. And had I not reached out to anybody, I would have submitted anything, and just
Okay.
wouldn't. I would have just been wondering. I wonder why they're not getting back to me. I know why. I know why they're not. Yeah,
Right.
you got to ask people. So like if you
Right.
don't know, you should help, like you should ask people, and your professors are the best people to ask. They grade your work, they know
Yep.
exactly how you write, they know your weaknesses in writing, and there's no shame in like perfecting your writing. If you want to go to law school, you're going to be writing for the rest of your life, so you might
Mhm.
as well get a head start in getting substantive evidence as edits that you don't like before law school, because if you get to law school you don't like that, babe, it's going to be real hard. I don't know,
Yeah,
feedback's
I
going to suck.
agree.
So
Retweet all those things.
but
That's
yeah,
all I got.
that's it.
You
I
have
think,
anything?
no, I honestly think this was good. I'm glad we were able to read like our excerpts too, because I think
Yeah.
it gives people and I think there's one thing to talk about what personal statements should include, shouldn't include, but I think actually being able to exemplify like, oh, we wish we would have done this now that we know. We wish we would have done this, especially I think going through that admissions process and seeing kind of which personal statements worked and which ones didn't. I think it's
Hmm.
very helpful. So yeah, that's our takeaways. Just know your audience, know yourself, ask for help. Anything else to add?
That's it. Know your
That's
audience.
it.
That's a big and proofread,
Oh,
please.
and proofread. Yeah.
Proofread, proofread,
Oh my gosh,
proofread.
I forgot to say that
Yeah,
because that was
actually
really
print
big.
it out, give it to somebody else, and ask them to read it and redline it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you proofread it because you put words back in here. You know what you meant, so you
Mm-hmm.
supplement it when you are reading it. Somebody else needs to
Mm-hmm.
read it and tell you you're missing this word. Something's wrong
Mm-hmm.
here. Like this is wrong. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Proofread, 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 and then when
Proofread.
you think it's right, proofread it one more time.
Just in case.
Yep.
And like maybe a mental checklist because that
Yeah.
helped with me too. Also, I forgot to say something that I would not recommend. I tried to make everyone like a part of my process. I don't say that that's a bad thing, but I was
Hmm.
asking people who like weren't going to law school or had never been to law school read my
Yep.
personal statement.
Yep.
And I think because of that, although they were able to give me good feedback on like, oh, you missed a word here, or like this doesn't make sense grammatically, I don't think that they were helpful in terms of like what I know a law school should be looking for. And
Right.
so it is an added bonus if you maybe have a professor or someone that you know has been to law school, is going to law school, is in law school, all
Right.
those things. And like they can actually let you know like this for a personal statement.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Not
Maybe
gonna
for like
cut
an
it.
optional
Yeah.
essay or like a statement that they offer for the school, that'd be great. But like for a personal statement, perhaps this isn't it. They're able to kind of like be the sounding board of what works and what doesn't. Because if you're just letting not anyone, but like someone who maybe isn't concerned with the sort of technicalities of what a personal statement requires, you may not get the feedback you're looking for. If they can just tell you that it reads well, that's great. But if it doesn't include anything that a personal statement should include to be persuasive and to kind of get you where you need to go, then it's not really good feedback. So
That's right.
I forgot to mention that.
That's right.
But yeah, we
Well,
hope you enjoyed. We hope this was helpful.
that's all we
If we
got for
see
y'all.
any of these words in this statement in any applications,
Yeah.
we're
Literally.
coming for you.
Don't be using
Please,
it.
like, please don't do that.
And the
I
last
told
thing
you I'm gonna
I'll
put this
say
in the
too
media, so
is
please.
I know people are gonna do it anyway, but y'all,
Mm,
please
mm.
write your own personal statements. Don't use AI to write your personal
Leave that.
statement.
Oh my God, leave that alone.
Leave it
Leave that
alone.
generative AI alone. I just
Leave
have
it
a question for
alone.
y'all that use that and you want to submit it. Do you not think the people in those positions are
Like
smarter
they've
than you?
been reading personal statements for decades.
Like
They know
you
what you
must.
wrote and what ChatGPT wrote. I
And
promise you
not
they
too
know.
much of a hot take. If you use a chat GPT to write that essay, baby, perhaps that's the
You ain't gonna
personal
make it.
statement enough. Okay?
You
Perhaps
ain't gonna make it.
that tells them everything they need to know about you.
Hello.
Okay? So
Hello.
expect that denial. I
The
don't want to put that
judge
on
and the
you.
jury are back, and your ass is Going to
It's
jail.
unanimous. It's unanimous. They took 2 minutes to
Yeah.
deliberate.
I'm
You're
sorry to be
done.
one.
You're guilty and
Episode.
you're
The
not
charge
going to
you're fixing
jail.
to keep.
You're not going to jail
You're going to prison.
that way. So leave it alone. Leave it
Okay.
alone. Please. And the best part is like generative AI can never tell you. If you're
Yeah.
looking for generative AI to tell you about yourself,
Yeah. You got bigger fish to fry. I'm actually a
and
little
you don't need to go
concerned
to law
for you.
school. You need to go to that
You can go
lady.
sit on that lady couch. You needed
But
to.
just keep in mind who you're writing to. And although the
Yeah.
admissions team, like maybe they won't be your professor, maybe they will, but think about these are people who are reading applications for their job. So what is
Yeah.
going to make you stand out? What is going to make you the exceptional candidate? What is going to make them think, even when they clock out, like, that was a really good personal statement I read. This student, talked about this. You want it to be something that they can reference, that even if they were to see you and accept you, that they're still thinking about, wow, that was a good thing. Because I met my admissions dean when I got there, and she talked about, like, oh, I remember reading your essay. I was like, do you? What did you think? Like, what are your thoughts? Had
Right.
to gauge. But you want it to be something that people remember, so that like that'll be their first impression that'll sustain you throughout your entire academic career. So
Yeah.
just know your audience, know who you're writing to, and know yourself, and leave that AI alone.
Leave it
And that's it.
alone.
That's all we
Leave
got
it
today.
alone. Alrighty. Well, that's all for this episode. As always, y'all please like, subscribe, share the podcast. We appreciate all the love we got in the last year. We're gonna, y'all probably have, if by the time this comes out, y'all probably have seen like 50,000 clips, because we're gonna be doing a lot of batch posting of previous episodes. But we're gonna continue to put out content, continue to do our due diligence. If you haven't interacted with our 28 and 28 series for the Black History
Please.
Month, because this will be coming out in March, because tomorrow's the last day of February, so interact with that. And also, if you haven't interacted with our Black History Month calendar, where we go over some outstanding Black legal professionals over the past, I don't know,
20 and
it
21st
ranges from like
Yeah.
inception of America to present day.
Yeah.
So check out those folks, and also please let us know what you're interested in hearing. Interested in hearing us talk about on the podcast. Interested in hearing us discuss with each other. Who you want to hear from. We're open to all of those things, and looking forward to just doing this and rocking out more through the rest of the year.
Yes.
So we'll see
Follow us
y'all
on
next time.
Instagram and on
Follow us on the
TikTok.
gram,
It's raising that
TikTok,
5%.
LinkedIn.
Yes,
We
everything.
everywhere.
We're
YouTube.
everywhere.
We everywhere. Boom.
Podcast. Yes, we are
Website coming
literally,
soon.
and like May said, we really want this to be a specially curated platform for the people that are watching it and consuming it. And so, if, like he said, if you do have a request, we have a link tree in our Instagram bio. We have a form that asks you, like, if you want to remain anonymous, it doesn't matter, but like who you want to see, what you want to see, because even this request, we've gotten this request, we want to talk about it, so we really want to make sure that people that are engaging with this platform feel as though like they can ask us something, and it really is, as helpful as possible. So
Yep.
just let us know. In the
Well,
meantime, we'll see you.
we'll see y'all on the flip. All right. Love and light. Peace.
Bye.